You're watching a special edition of Real Orange on KOCE and the OC channel. I'm Ed Arnold. KOCE has invited the top two candidates vying for the 47th Congressional District to join us here in our studios for two 30-minute debates. I'm joined by incumbent Democratic Congresswoman Loretta Sanchez and challenger Republican Assemblyman Tran. Both candidates have opening statements. Congresswoman Sanchez, we'll go with you first.
Thank you, Ed, for inviting me to be here this evening. And thank you to those tuning in from home. This election is not about a debate in a TV studio or clever ads or flyers in the mail. It's about people like Richard, a truck driver, a Harley rider, and a loving grandfather who wrote to me 10 years ago. He voted for me because I fight for people like him. And I have kept his letter on my desk in Washington every day to remind me that you are counting on me to fight for you. It's about Lydia, a single mother who called me in tears after a health insurance provider had declined to insure her cancer-stricken child for the fourth time. It is about all of you. It is about creating jobs, about fighting for our small businesses, about educating our children, and about making our community safer. This election is about a real choice between two very different visions for our community. It is about recovering our economy, getting Orange County back on track, and moving us forward. And that's what I have been doing. So to Richard and to Lydia and everyone else who is struggling, I will keep fighting for you.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Assemblyman Tran, your opening statement.
Well, thank you, Ed, for the opportunity to speak to our viewers and our constituents. I don't need a teleprompter to share my vision and share my positive message of hope and opportunity to the voters and the neighbors of the 47th Congressional District. Right now, the future of our country is at stake, and the issue relating to our country and our neighbors are jobs and the economy, and of course the runaway spending. Here we have an incumbent who sits in Congress for 14 years representing this district, and for a minute she has to use a teleprompter, I'm sorry to say, to share her vision with you when we are all hurting with lack of employment, runaway spending, and also the economy is in the tank. In California, we have a 12.4% unemployment rate. Where is Congress in this debate? Where is President Obama in this debate? The stimulus has not worked. The issue for us today is to share in the future of our country and to make our country great again. I live the American dream as an immigrant who come to this country to try to contribute and to make this country better. Our families and our friends are all here working together, and this is the message that I'm going to bring to the voters and our neighbors in the 47th Congressional District. It's a positive message of hope and opportunity, and this is where we are today.
Thank you, Assemblyman. Now we'd like to move to the questions. To begin, each candidate will be given time to answer the same question. The candidate who is asked to deliver the answer first will be allowed a 30-second response after their opponent's answer. We'll be adjusting the allotted times toward the end of the debate, depending on how well we stick to the schedule. Our first question will be for Congresswoman Sanchez. Congresswoman, the economy weighs heavy on everyone's mind. The federal stimulus plan bailed out Wall Street, the banks, and auto industry, but the bailout has not been able to reverse our near double-digit unemployment numbers. What else can Congress do to stimulate job growth, or is this the new normal for the American workforce?
Well, let me begin by saying that creating jobs is my #1 priority. And I understand that it is tough times. Believe me, I have close friends and close family, and many of you know, who have either lost their jobs or have lost their homes. But you know what? I'm optimistic because I grew up here in Orange County, and I know what we can do. I know that this is the place of opportunity. And so there's really 3 things that I want to talk about. First of all, we didn't create this mess, but we'll take responsibility to fix it. So here's what we're doing. For small businesses, we're putting in tax incentives to hire people, and we've cut taxes on 95% of the people, the middle class. We're keeping our schools open. When Sacramento couldn't get money down here for the schools to keep them open, when they were laying off the teachers, we stepped up and put the money in. And we are investing in infrastructure. When you see that widening of the 91 freeway, for example, that's money from the federal government. The 5 freeway and making it so beautiful all the way up to the 5 so that we can all go along it, that's great. And for example, this new rail that we're building, $2.2 billion. The Orange County Business Council says that that's going to create 57,000 jobs. So we are doing our part.
Thank you very much, Assemblyman Tran.
Where are the jobs, really? I mean, we're talking about the stimulus package in which this Democratic Congress has passed with President Obama's approval, $787 billion. Where are the jobs in the 47th Congressional District, Ed and Congresswoman? Because right now in the 47th Congressional, in Central Orange County, in which I have the honor to represent a part of, people are hurting. And we are spending more money, the stimulus package, than both wars in Iraq and Afghanistan combined. We are spending more money than George Washington to George Bush combined, the budget. I mean, you are talking about jobs and the economy, and yet you think that you can spend the money, on taxpayers' back into prosperity. It's not going to work, because we need to stimulate the economy. We need to unravel and untie the bureaucracy and the red tape, and also lower taxes. These are the issues in which our residents and our neighbors wanted it. And the small business community is hurting. They want to see Washington, D.C. work to help them and empower them instead of create more problems and issues for them in the community.
Thank you, sir.
Bureaucracy and the red tape, and also lower taxes. These are the issues in which our residents and our neighbors wanted it. And the small business community is hurting. They want to see Washington, D.C. work to help them and empower them instead of create more problems and issues for them in the community.
Thank you, Senator. Congresswoman Sanchez, you'll have the final word on this topic, 30 seconds.
Well, first of all, tell Richard, somebody who's working on widening the 91 freeway, that the package didn't work. Actually, he's got a job because of it. He was out for work for a year. He has a college kid to put through college. He had to feed his family. And he came in, he had tears coming down his face to thank me for having brought that money. The Bristol widening, you know, if you drive down Santa Ana and you see Bristol Street being widened, that is the federal money at work. And those are good jobs. Those are jobs that create 7 other jobs in the economy. So, you know, people who are on construction, then they turn around and they use that money and make more jobs.
Thank you very much, Congresswoman. Assemblyman Tran, one downside of the stimulus plan is that the federal deficit continues to grow at an alarming rate. How would you reel in the spending without doing damage to what is clearly a fragile economic recovery?
Look, I've talked to thousands of our neighbors and voters in the 47th Congressional District and throughout California as well. And I can share with you that people are hurting. And people are very concerned and apprehensive about the future and the direction of this country and where we are heading. And to say that jobs and the economy with the stimulus package being helped right now is definitely not living in reality, because the 91 freeway is jammed. Has anybody been driving on the 91 freeway about